Why Birds of Prey, progeny? Well, I gotta tell you this. We got Black Canary in that book, and we also got many female superhero vigilante, call them the way you want. Because of that, well, I think it's very fitting. So I read it. That was very fun. I cannot wait to read the sequel to this because I got two other Birds of Prey books from the same series. So yeah, I think it's very fitting to read that as homework for film and shows adaptation. The Harley Quinn Emancipation, whatever you call the movie, that terrible movie I really hated. So yeah, that was what I did as homework. And I am live talking about Birds of Prey. I can't believe it's been 5 years that Dud came out. It's a really bad movie. Now, be advised, I will be spoiling the entire thing. So let's first go into the cast. How much money did it cost? In the plot. So let's get into it. So it was directed by Katie Yan, written by Christina Hodson, and it was based on DC characters. And I just realized I didn't screen share what I was reading through. It's on the Wikipedia page for Birds of Prey 2020. So let's do this. It was starring Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That name is very familiar to me. And I just realized she was in Final Destination 3. Jimmy Smollett Bell. She is familiar as well, but I can't remember in what. Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, Ella J. Bosco, Ali Wong, and Ewan McGregor. Fun fact, in that listing, that's the only guy. I guess it makes sense. It's Birds of Prey. Now, as I was reading through the page, I was kind of shocked. The budget was between 82 million to 100 million, and it did its money back. It was actually a very successful movie with 205 million at the box office. Considering it was 2020, good job. I'm shocked because I will be honest. I think that movie is terrible, and yeah. So let's get into the plot because this is part of the new format. So the plot, I will make it very short for you because it's not a very complicated movie. So we got Harley Quinn. She just broke up with Joker, and now she wants to be a woman of her own. And I will draw a parallel to something that happened in the comics as well. She has a character arc just like that in the Harley Quinn comic I've read, the DC Finest about Harley Quinn, and that aspect was very accurate. That aspect was very good. This is probably the only good thing about that movie. So the plot. Well, Harley Quinn, she keeps doing like gangster thing because she's a gangster and that's all she has going for her. And eventually she get the quest to find the diamond on someone that kind of stole the diamond from a crime lord. And then she get mixed up with Renee Montoya, a cop, and we also got Black Canary in that. A very underwhelming version of Black Canary in the mix. And this what we get. It's they go all go after that MacGuffin, that diamond they really want. And yeah, that's the movie. And we have a crazy nutcase with Harley Quinn, which is very accurate to the comic. And eventually, cops and Tug are teaming up together to beat the patriarchy. That's the plot of the movie. Hell yeah, the way to do it. Now, at the end, Harley Quinn wins. That's the plot. And I know they really stretch it a lot on that page. The plot is like several paragraphs, and yeah. We also had Zaz in that movie. And we also had Black Mask. Lots of big name dropping. So yeah, that's the plot. We got Black Mask that wants Harley Quinn on a pike, but she will try to find that diamond, and she has that friendship with the kid that stole the diamond, and she decides to team up with the kid to fight the patriarchy and Black Mask. That's the plot, folks. Now, now, let's get into the review. The review of Harley Quinn. Well, I had several issues. Even politics aside, I think that movie is just so bad. It's one of the worst things I've seen. So let's get into the issues. My first issue was character didn't talk like a human. Dialogue was off-putting. It was really terrible dialogue. I don't know who came up with that, but human don't talk like that. And I'm kind of fine with Harley Quinn being different because a lot of things that happens with her, she's just imagining things and she's kind of crazy, so I'm fine with her being like over the top. But the rest of the characters, why does everyone needs to be over the top? It takes away how Harley Quinn should be so different than everyone. She is the outcast, but no, in this movie everyone is an outcast. So everyone talks a very, very weird way, and I cannot stand it. My second issue, the humor simply didn't work. My third issue, plot convenience. The guy taking a piss near Harley Quinn so she could steal a car. Yeah. My fourth issue was the reconstitution of the crime scene at the bad guys having crappy aim. Okay, okay. Next issue. That's a rinse and repeat. More bad attempts at humor. I think that movie biggest sin is the humor. The humor is just unbearable. I don't know what they were thinking. And let's do this. Let's say it. I will be sexist. This movie is proof that women can't be funny. They don't know how to. I'm sorry, but so many women are behind that movie. It's like the worst example of feminist humor. It's awful. It's, usually I don't throw that word out there. I don't like call out movies to be woke, and I try to stay away from identity politics when I review movies and TV shows, but it's bleeding all over that movie. You must be stupid to not see it. Okay. The sixth issue, more of that sinful attempt at humor that just didn't work. The seventh issue, more plot convenience. Everyone bumping into Harley for humor and the help or getting away or getting captured. So again, that movie is just not well written. The plot just doesn't really work very well. It's they need to force thing in so the movie just flows or just goes on. It's it baffles me how poorly written that movie is. More bad dialogue, more plot convenience. Dinah being around to help Harley. So you see, they don't meet because it's well dressed or well made. They meet because the plot wants them to meet. It's terrible writing. I'm sorry, I cannot stand by it. I cannot say, oh, it's fabulous, it's great. More off-putting dialogue. My 11th issue. Most of the action throughout the movie wasn't believable since everyone seemed to fight with super strength. Now I will address that. I will say it as I was watching. I was like, you know what? Okay, Harley Quinn can have over the top fights. She is crazy. She's not case. But where it's an issue is when everyone in the cast is like that. Even the comics are not that way. And I've read lots of them, and even there, it's a movie. It's a movie, and it pretends to be somewhat grounded. It's not like it's not like Christopher Nolan Batman grounded, but they pretend they're human beings, you know? And I I'm just bothered by how over the top everyone fight is. It just takes away the uniqueness. It just takes away how Harley Quinn fight could be different. She's Harley Quinn, she's the main character, you see? If everyone is over the top, you forget she is crazy because it's a world where everyone is crazy, and it does take away from Harley Quinn being the supposed to be outcast. My 12th issue, more off-putting and terrible dialogue. The 13th and last issue. In the last fight, the bad guys were made incompetent for the good girls to win. And again, more outrage. That movie is just not working at all. It's an insult to IQ. It's an insult to cinema. It's an insult to be honest, comic book movies. And I've seen most of them. That I think the only one I didn't see as of right now. Well, actually, I've missed a lot of X-Men, but I will course correct. Eventually, I will end up watching them. But I've seen most comic book movies, and I feel like that one is just a blunt and honest insult to the comic book style of movies and TV shows. So, despite all of my hatred and my numerous issues, the movie had okay things. Let's get into the enjoyable bits of Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Who thought it was a good idea to have a title that long? I guess that was a joke. And not a great one, like most of the humor in that movie. So let's get into it. Harley Quinn monologue was fitting to the comics, which I guess is a decent thing. Again, it's probably the only enjoyable thing. I feel like we would have gotten a much better movie if that was the Harley Quinn movie and not the Birds of Prey movie. That's just how I feel about that. Visual effects were okay. The action was entertaining. I admit the chase was entertaining. The action was fun, despite being unbelievable and really bad sometimes. It wasn't boring. I will admit that. More entertaining action, drunk guys in the alley. The movie was competent at showing how crazy and unstable Harley Quinn was. The main villain was okay, cool action and music. But again, I feel like the movie could have been so much better if it was handled by competent people behind the scene. Because I think Margot Robbie is really good in the role. But she was the only decent part. Renee Montoya, I don't know. I forgot who played her. I forgot how she spoke. But I do remember that Renee Montoya in the Batwoman TV show, which wasn't great. And I remember in the Gotham TV show as well. And these two media I just mentioned, I've seen them many years ago. Batwoman, it's like 2 years ago. And freaking Gotham, it's 3 years ago. I still remember them. The new Renee Montoya, I've seen her like last week. Because I exaggerate, but I've seen Birds of Prey, that movie here we review. I've seen it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I already forgot that Renee Montoya. So it's just a sign she is probably the worst Renee Montoya there is. And even in the comics, the comics I've read at least, she's enjoyable, she's not impressive, she's okay, but she's far better than what we got in this movie. I I just think they didn't cast the right people, they didn't hire the right people behind the scene. It's sad because I will admit that the Birds of Prey comics are very very good. The one I've read are very good. They are enjoyable. They are funny. They have good action. They have good characters. Now, this is this section here. So, um, this section, I think overall, it's not the worst thing I've seen. It somewhat adapts Harley Quinn very well, and she is the main character. So, as an adaptation, is it the worst thing out there? I don't think so. It's the best thing out there. I don't think so as well. I I think Black Canary was always really good in the comics. In that movie, she is kind of forgettable, and she only uses her power once, and that sounded like, pun intended, that sounded like a Aspel or some BS like that. They're like, "Oh right, she has powers. Let's use them once." Like no proper setup, no proper teaser. It's just like it must be a big reveal, and we do it only because it's in the comics. And I feel like in the comics I've read, her powers are always a big thing, and she is also a very very nice character, and I don't feel like this movie did her justice at all. Renee Montoya again was very forgettable. And I remember there was another Birds of Prey, but I can't remember which one. This is how much telling it is. These characters are not memorable. I'm sorry, but it just didn't work. I think as an adaptation, and most of that grade is really because Margot Robbie and Harley Quinn, because they are the most accurate thing. I think it's a 5. It's a 5 out of 10 as an adaptation. Now, my review. The grade I will give to Birds of Prey as a movie is a 1 out of 10. As a movie, it's a disaster. As an adaptation, it's fine. So, again, as an adaptation, I think it's a 5. As a movie, as a thing on its own, the comic don't exist. It's a 1. It's really a 1 out of 10 because it's just a terrible movie. I cannot stand it. I think it's awful. And it's kind of shocking. I almost forgot to mention how bad this movie is. It's really a 1 out of 10. I will never see that thing again. I actually have regrets watching that thing. So again, Birds of Prey is a 1 out of 10. As an adaptation, it's a 5 out of 10. So it's a better adaptation than it is a product on its own. On its own, it's just it didn't make the cut. I'm sorry, it didn't. So we get into the final segment of this stream, the Rotten Tomato. Let's get to see what other people had to say. There we go. What did they say about that movie? Let's find out. I can already bet, I can already say, these critique, they liked it a lot. Okay, the first comment from Max Weiss about Baltimore Magazine. Kinetic, silly, candy colored, and hyper violent Birds of Prey is a serious treat for fans and of comic book films, but it won't work without the equal part goofy, hilarious, and unhinged performance of its lead. Again, I think the only part they really nailed was Harley Quinn, but that was more of an ensemble cast than an Harley Quinn movie, so I strongly disagree with that person. That person probably never read any comic. The next one, by the way, that first one gave a 3 out of 4. It's unbelievable how that thing got such a high score. I don't understand these critique. So let's read the next one. Christina Newland. Ultimately, the plot is as messy as its central character trotting around with one shoe and a bacon sandwich in hand. But it's also a whole bunch of glittery, satisfying fun, especially the unkempt, cheerful, chaotic energy of Harley Quinn. Just a nice tomato there. Birds of Prey is a fruity cocktail of a movie. It goes down smooth, make you giddy, and there's the possibility of a slight hangover. Wow, these critics, they really like their woke crap. Birds of Prey is a breath of fresh air in the already predictable landscape of superhero fare. This film is evidence that dark and distressing subject matter can be dealt with a poignant manner and without it being toe on the nose. I I I guess these are critique. It aligns with their values. So yeah. Audience review. May God is such a joy to watch. I actually agree with that. But 5 out of 5 for this thing, wow. That person has no standard whatsoever. Jimmy's okay movie, pretty entertaining, 2.5 out of 5 stars. I guess a 5 makes sense. It's my score I've given to the adaptation itself. The movie is a 1, but hey. Corey, one of the better DC films. Are you kidding me? Margot Robbie is amazing as Harley. I actually agree with that one sentence. Wish the villain was a little more menacing. Guess that's a 9 out of 10 here for Corey. The next one, Harley Quinn is always fun on screen, but people will forget this movie happened. Hopefully, one day the DCU can cleanly fit these films together with a 2 out of 5. That person is the closest to my grade, which was a 1 out of 10. So maybe I'm crazy because everyone seemed to like that trap. I don't see the value. I just don't. This is odd garbage. Even politics aside, I don't think anything worked with that movie outside of Harley Quinn. But again, that's an ensemble cast. It's not the Harley Quinn movie, and even the title says Birds of Prey, and a very long title that I won't waste time on sharing. Now, this is the outro, I guess. What is going on the channel? Saturday, we talk about censorship again. Next Monday, Bogadia, the new Emma Stone movie, and Good Fortune. And maybe a third movie next week at some point. I don't know. We will see. But there's at least 2 new releases I want to address next Monday. Now, Tuesday. Tuesday, we talk about MCU things. Next Wednesday, we talk about the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, and the terrible DCU one. And that's the plan. And stay tuned because in November we talk about Smallville once again. We will finish the show this time around in film and shows adaptation. I cannot wait to talk about all of these joyful things. And we are out.